Okay. Now, I guess I will give an example. Yes. You can see this example later whenever you want. I will share this notebook with everyone. Now we will move ourselves to the type of functions which are available. The second notebook. There are two kind of functions: built-in functions and user-defined functions. Functions which you were defining. Okay, get some. Where is the other one? Print name. These are all user-defined functions, or short form people generally call it UDFs. Okay, they are user-defined functions. But there are a couple of built-in functions are available which we are using on day-to-day basis. We are using print, we are using help, we are using dir, we are using len function, we are using sorted function. Yes, most of these are map, filter, reduce. We have already heard of it. We have already studied it in the first module of Python. Other than that, there are a couple of functions which are generally used in data science. There, there are a couple of more also, but we will discuss only a few at the moment. There is an ABS function. ABS function is nothing but it gives you the absolute value. Whatever number you pass to it, it gives you the absolute value. Sorry, connect. Give it a moment. So whatever negative value, whatever value you provide to it, it gives you the absolute value. That's all it does. Yes, thank you. I hit 100. Let's say I provide a float value. It gives a float negative. So whatever you provide it is going to give you the absolute value. Okay. Now next there is an all function. All function is actually very useful. It is very useful function. What it does is it checks an iterable, okay, and it returns, okay. Okay, let's take an example, then it will be more clear. So it gives you only two values. It gives you either true or false. It gives you true if all elements in an iterable are true. It gives you false if any one of the elements, even a single element, is false. Okay. How do we define true and false? Let's say I have defined a list here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm asking what is it? Is it all true values or false? Yes, all true values. Here you have a 0. 0 is considered to be as a false. As I run it, I get false. Let's say I do not have 0. I have none. What will I get at the moment? I get false. So this is also considered as a false. What if I have an empty list or a tuple or any iterable? If I run it, it is going to give me true only because there are no 0. There is no 0 available in this. So keep that in mind. If anyone is asking if I have an empty list or an empty tuple and I'm running the all function on that, what would be the output? Will it be true or will it be false? It will be true because you do not have any zeros in there. In case if you have intentionally put false in here, then obviously the value will always be false. This is the second function. So we discussed absolute function. We discussed all function. The third function which we will discuss is dir function. I have already explained this to you earlier. Dir function is one of the most useful functions. I use it on day-to-day basis because it is not possible for me to remember all the methods of an object. So just to get those things straight, I used a dir function. So I've written the definition. The dir tries to return a list of all valid attributes of the object. If the object has dir method, the method will be called and must return the list of objects. If the object does not have dir method, the method tries to find the information from the dictionary attribute if defined from the, okay, this is, I can delete it. Why did I write it? We can leave it. So, okay, I can delete it. It is not making sense. Perfect. Let's say I have defined a variable here. I have defined the variable numbers, which is a list. Now I want to know what are the methods which I can use on a list. Okay, what I can do, I can go ahead and write the dir function, and I can provide the variable name. If I do not want to provide a variable name, I can go ahead and write list also, the exact variable. Sorry, exact object name. I can also do that. I can also write the exact variable name. Let's say I have defined a number, a is equals to 5, and print of a. If I run it, the first line is for list. If you see, okay, you have insert, index, extend, count, copy, append, clear, sort, reverse, pop, and all. Second line is for integers. You have bit length, conjugate, denominator, from bytes, emag, numerator, real, 2 bytes, and all those things. So this is the usage of dir function. It is very useful. The fourth function is the div mod. The div mod method takes two numbers and returns a pair. It returns a tuple consisting their quotient and remainder. Let's say I have given 9 and 2. Okay, then it will divide 9 by 2. It will give me the quotient and it will give me the remainder. Let's say I've given 15 and 7, and I run it, I get 2 and 1. Any issues in the functions which we just discussed? We discussed 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, we discussed 4. Any issues in this?
Shirish, can you reiterate this all function, because as far as I know, empty list is always false. So this all function basically checks the element in the list, right?
Yes, it checks the element. So
Okay.
the empty list will be true only, Rishabh. It will not be false. If I do this, it will be true. It will not be false because I do not have any false elements. I don't have any element. It will be true only. It will not give you false, Rishabh.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Okay. Thank you, Shirish.
Thank you. Any further? Okay, div function I didn't understand. Got an MCQ. Okay. Div function is nothing but it's like a helper function for you. Okay, it's like a helper function. In case you have forgotten a method of any object on which you are currently working, then you can use the div function to find out a list. You definitely do not use it to print anything or to provide any kind of insights to anyone. It is specifically designed for the developers. Because obviously it is not possible to remember everything. I cannot do it. I always use dir function. That is why, in case I do not, I know the logic. Okay, there is something which can do this, but I've forgotten which one will do it. Then I use the dir function and then it comes to my mind. That is how I do it. Okay, got an MCQ question. I didn't understand it. Huh? Okay, Arun has asked a question. I request you all to please answer it. Answer it in the chat box. Perfect. Now we will discuss the enumerate function. Enumerate function is a very useful function. People use it on day-to-day basis because it gives you something which generally requires an additional loop. Okay, it is a beautiful function to provide the insights. What it does is the enumerate function or the enumerate, yes, it is not a method, it is a function. Adds counter to an iterable and returns it. The syntax is very simple. Enumerate the iterable, and by default, the start value is 0. We will see what do we mean by that. I have defined an iterable number which has 4 values, 10, 20, 30, and 40. Now what I'm doing here, okay, what if I want to know, okay, what if I want to know it is not there? Imagine it's not there. what if I already know that, okay, 10 is written on 0th index, 20 is written on first index, 30 is written on second index, and 40 is written on fourth index. It is very well clear to me. But what if I have a large data set and I want a counter to be given after each iterable? How do I do that? I can use the enumerate function. It will give that to me. Now, what I can do here is enumerate function works in loops majorly. Just give me a second. I'm sorry. Okay. Once you run it, it gives you something like this. Okay, Rishabh, it will give you true here.
I'm so sorry, I'm mistakenly did it. It is true, yes. But if we take a bool of this empty list, it will be false, right?
Let's try. What do you want?
So bool of the empty list, yes. Okay, yes. Should be false as far as I know.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
So it's a contradict actually.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So we are discussing enumerate. So basically what I'm doing here, I'm running a loop, a simple loop, nothing else. And index. Now, what I'm doing here is I already know. Okay, I already know. This is something which you need to keep in mind. Okay, I have received a query. Everyone is able to see my screen.
Yes.
Can you see this chat, or can you see this chat button? Means I received something that I'm not able to see the chat button.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I don't know. I won't take the name, but everyone is able to see it, right? Arun texted, yes, he is able to see it. Yes, everyone is able to see it. So this is. I'll keep it with me. Ask to check. I didn't get it. Okay, now how are we doing there? So we already know that enumerate function is going to give me two things. It is going to give me two things. The first thing it is going to give is the counter. And the second one, it is going to give me the iterable. So generally, when we run a loop on our list, or let's say on an iterable, what do we get? Int I. If I run this loop, it is going to take the first element, it is going to put in I, and it is going to print that I. The second element in the I, printing I, third element in the I, printing I, fourth element in the I, printing I. That is all it is going to do for me. So that is what a normal loop would do. Now, when we're using the enumerate function, the first thing which it unpacks is the index or the counter of the function. Sorry, counter of the iterable or the index. And the second one is the iterable. So I'm using for index, comma num in enumerate and the iterable name, which is 10, 20, 30, 40 numbers. And then I'm printing index, comma num. The moment I'm printing it, it is giving me the index 0 and the num 10. So it is saying at 0th index, you have the 10th value. On the first index, you have 20th value. On the third index, it has 30th. And then at the third index, you have 40th. So this is how your enumerate function works. Now, it could be a possibility when you want to define the index value by yourself. Okay, you do not want it to be given specifically, or you do not want it to be starting at 0. Then what you can do, you can provide a number here. Okay, you can provide a number. Star. Let's say 20. Now my index will start at 20. So on 20th index, I have value 10. On 21st index, I have 20. On 22nd index, I have 30th. So let me write it in a proper way. Index value is and element value is good. Now the index value is 20, the element value is 10. The index value is 21, the element value is 20. So whatever number I provide here, let's say I provide 50, or let's say I provide 5, it is going to count from 5. Okay, let's say I provide a range here, range from 0 to 101, and I run it. I get something like this. It started from 5. On the 5th index, I have the value 0. And it went all the way to 105. At 105th index, I have the value 100. So this is how we use the enumerate function. So it's up to you how we are using it. It's up to you the way the problem is given out to you. You can use it. By default, the value will be 0. So I will write it. Start is an argument, not requirement. Okay, any issues in the enumerate function?